Hello, hello, hello. We are here again, building legacies. Yes, I said building legacies. BLDNG. The word legacies, we spell our name uniquely. BLDNG, building legacies. So
Thank
thank you for tuning in to another episode. I'm Bridget, one of your hosts, and I'm joined today with my other two co-hosts, Stanley, who likes to be referred to as Stan, and Eric. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing
What's
well.
going on? How you
Doing
feeling?
well. How you doing, Bridget?
I am doing awesome. Do you know that the first quarter is almost over?
Right.
We're like in mid-March already. I'm
Wow.
super excited about the second quarter. I have certain goals that I'm trying to accomplish financially, physically, health-wise, relationship-wise. So we have to always have our goals, and it's important to have our goals written down as well too. So actually, I'm part of a round table, and we have to set our smart goals. So I'm really excited about that. Excited about that event. And what I would like to ask the audience, I want to ask the audience a question. So I want to ask the audience, do you love to win or do you hate to lose? And so I know that I can't get the answer from the audience right now. So now I'm going to ask my two co hosts. I want to know your answer to this question. Stan, do you love to win or do you hate to lose?
I'm both. I love to win, and I hate to lose. And let me ask you: am I supposed to be impartial to one or the other? Um,
You can't pick both. It has to be one or the other, okay?
oh, I love to win. I
You
love
love to
to
win.
win.
Okay,
That's a
okay.
good
I like
question too,
that.
because they can put it in the comments when they like, subscribe, and share. They can also answer that question in the comments. Do they love to win or hate to lose? I love to win.
Okay, okay. And so what about you, Eric? Do you love to win or do you hate to lose?
Right. Being that I could only choose one, right? I think I would choose. I love to win.
You
I
love
think
to win. Okay, I hope you're not just biting off of Stanley's answer now, okay?
no, because when I think about it, I mean, being that I could only choose one, because I also hate to lose. You know what I mean? Probably just as much, right? But if I could only choose one, what motivates me is winning consistently. You know what I mean? It's a good feeling when even from the smallest to the biggest level when I achieve a goal, and that's a win for me. You know, it's invigorating. You know what I mean? So I would have to go with that as well.
Well, you know what? You both got the right answer. So this question was posed to us when I went to a real estate event in Puerto Rico, and they had asked this question to the audience, and this is an interview question that they ask when they're onboarding a new employee. And so when they posed the question to us, my answer was, I hate to lose. So that's what I picked. um, but according to them, when they're hiring someone and they ask this question, they prefer to hire the person that says they love to win. And they were saying that the person that loves to win, they'll have more grit, they'll have more tenacity. They won't let anything stop them. So I just wanted to pose that, to the audience and to you guys too. So you guys got it right on the first try. I like that. I like that. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it
And
makes a lot of sense. It makes sense. You know, when like I said, loving to win, yeah, like I said, it's motivating. You know what I mean? And it keeps you wanting to, continue winning. You know what I mean? So I get that.
That feeling you get when a plan comes together or you succeed and you see the fruits of your labor. That no, I don't think there's another feeling that I know of that can beat that when you try and try and try and then you succeed. So that's why I love to win, man. I love to win. And even when it appears that I'm winning sometime, I may be loving it too much because the unseen hand and the forces is bringing me 10 steps back. But I don't look at it. I don't look at it as a loss. I look at it as a stepping stone and something else I have to learn to get back to where I was. So I love it.
okay, okay, good, good, good. So I always like to talk about a good read that I'm indulging in. And so I want to let you guys know that this book, Discovering Your North Star, So actually, I met the author of this book at the same event that I went to in Puerto Rico. His
Mm.
name is Dr. Dwight Ike Ringhard, and this book he actually mailed it to me, actually for my son. So I started reading it on chapter 1, and this book is really awesome. I'm like, I just can't wait to finish it. So I wanted to ask you guys, are you guys reading any books now?
Yeah. For me, I constantly read books. Sometimes I'm in two books at a time. You know what I mean? On two different, um, areas. You know what I mean? I just picked up another book. Currently reading on stock investing, and
Oh, okay.
been like heavily into that. And then I also read literature on like sociology, uh, things dealing with psychology. Like I said, sometimes I'm in two books at one time. You know what I mean? So
I'm the same way. With me, sometimes I'll read a book all the way through, and sometimes just to scan through it to get an understanding of it. But then I'll repeatedly go back and back and back to the book, even while I'm going through the same thing with another book. So there's no one particular book that I am reading right now, and I'm just still working on certain things that I'm doing. But I always reference to different books. I got the Think and Grow Rich, not the Black Choice, but the Napoleon Hill, all on my nightstand. So even before I go to bed, I might read a chapter, read some verses from it, just to keep me invigorated. But I don't have any one particular book. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and with that said, Bridget, there's an individual that passed. I believe in the I think it's March 11th. He passed.
Oh, really?
And
Who
it's a
is this?
it's just a black billionaire who passed, and his name is Junior Bridgman. And he was a former NBA player, and a successful businessman, but he passed on March, and he was at the age of 71. So just to give a brief history, because this is building legacies, and I'm gonna tell y'all before I give a brief history of him, I'm glad we started this podcast because I see great things happening from it. When I run into people and they talk about their business, or they'll talk about they went to a business conference, or there's someone in their family, they never negate the fact to say they're trying to build a legacy for their family.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've picked the ideal name, the ideal slogan, and the ideal of the way we have the name read, because we just have to continue to weave ourselves and wove ourselves into the fabric of this community, and how we provide this information. But like always, I digress. But he had an NBA career. Junior Bridgman, he had a nice career, and he played 12 years in the NBA, including 10 with the Milwaukee Bucks. He's a successful businessman, and after retirement, he became known for his entrepreneurial ventures and investments. His billionaire status, he became a billionaire in 2024 with an estimated net worth of 1.4 billion. And
Wow.
he was a minority owner in the Bucks. He purchased a 10% minority share in 2024. So he had a medical emergency, but it doesn't really say. I don't know at this particular point. I didn't get deep into it, but I didn't want us to neglect that. And what we need to start doing is making sure that we also be in the forefront of, you know, business, and also how it affects our community and other communities abroad. Because building legacies is just that, building legacies. You don't have a particular race, color, or creed, or particular people. We just trying to show financial literacy. And with that, uh, I got to be quiet. I'm gonna just stop because I can keep going. So, Bridget, what we're talking about today?
Oh, okay. And you know what? Even before we start to, so we want to just put out a disclaimer that this information that we're providing is only for educational purposes. You know, we're not any CPAs, we're not tax accountants, so just keep that in mind. So we have a well, you know, we are what in March now, right? So you know what happens around this time, right?
right.
Ka-ching, ka-ching, right? People start getting all this money in the mail, tax returns done, and getting a tax refund. So I thought that it would be a great topic to talk about what to do with that tax return. So as far as well, tax refund, should I say? So I'm always late as far as filing my taxes. I haven't filed them yet. I have sent my stuff to my CPA. Let me give my CPA a shout out. Wealth Building CPA, giving you a shout out. So, and typically well, for the last couple of years, I haven't been receiving a refund, but um, if I did, I would put that money to good use, and when we say put that money to good use, we don't want to take it and buy, we call it depreciating assets or doodads. So do something
Or what?
useful. I call it doodads,
Oh,
depreciating assets. So sometimes people may get this big refund check and they're like, you know what, I'm gonna go out shopping. I'm gonna go buy me that Gucci bag. I'm gonna go buy me that Louis Vuitton bag. That bag is not doing a thing for you, okay?
Right.
It's not putting it back in your pocket. It's just taking money away from So we have to be smart consumers when we're going to spend that money. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with your money. One great thing would be to use it to boost your emergency fund. So we all know about how important it is to have an emergency fund, right, guys?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And so, I mean, what do you guys?
what you
What's your
prefer,
thoughts?
3 or 6 months?
Hmm.
Do you prefer or advise 3 or 6 months? Because it's hard. People is living paycheck to paycheck. It's hard for them to develop a fund. I'm gonna tell you that now.
Right, right. But you know what? The thing about it is that, you pretty much have no choice but to, because just know that those storms are going to come. And
Mm.
then when those storms do come, you're going to be better prepared. So
Right.
I'm pretty much sure that we all can find some ways of saving money. And now this money is coming to you, a lump sum at one time. So you
Mm.
don't even have to save this money. So now instead of you taking the money and maybe going out shopping, you know what? You may put it in a high interest savings account and put it to the side and act as if you don't even have it. So I mean, as far as me, I would say the longer you can, put it in there for, like, if you want to have a 6 months, the better. But if you can't have a 6 month emergency fund, you need to at least have a minimum of 1 month.
Right.
But they suggest, 3 months on an average, because anything can happen to you. If you're working, you can lose your job, you can get sick and be out of work,
Right.
for a short duration or so. Then what are you going to do if you're not getting paid, if you're not working? So this
Right.
is where this comes in handy. Or if your car break down, so it can help take care of a lot of these unknowns that's lurking around the corner.
Right. Right. And yeah, just to add on to that, when we speak of 3 to 6 months, what's recommended is just tallying your living expenses per month, right, and then multiply that by 3 to 6, right? So whatever maybe your mortgage or your rent is, your car note, utilities, things like that. You know what I mean? So whatever, it's just hypothetically that comes up to say $3,000 monthly. So now you multiply that, say minimally 3 months. Now we're looking at $9,000 that you want to have at least saved for an emergency. Because, and then with that is within 3 months, it allows you some space to kind of get your legs back up under you. You know what I mean? 3 months, and even if you could go out 6, that's even better, because within that time span, if you lost your job, you could potentially find another one. You could kind of get on before you deplete that savings. So yeah, I'm a big advocate of um, emergency saves. And with me, just being an owner operator, having my own business, it's imperative that I have a emergency fund, because I have so many variables with what I do. You know what I mean? Let alone not just my personal expenses, my business expenses.
Hmm.
Something could happen with my truck. For instance, yesterday randomly I had to get a new tire. You know what I mean? So there's random things that can happen that if you're not properly or adequately prepared, you're in a jam, or you're calling people to borrow. You know what I mean? So that's exactly, that's what that means. If you got 3 to 6 months as your living expenses, if you can do it. And also with just coming up in the neighborhood, we come up in, working class, uh, kind of poverty stricken areas, right? So this time of the year is like a celebration, right?
It's like Christmas, huh?
Right. And everyone is, I'm talking about months ago, people were waiting on this. So
Mhm.
The money that was right, they were planning on it, and the money that they receiving was spent before they even received
Even before they got it, right? They had the money spent.
it. In mind, they know, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna take a trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just sometimes just the culture, because like I said, we may not be financially literate as we need to be. So, like a suggestion, um, for instance, like if you have a lot of debt, credit card debt, high
Mm-hmm.
interest credit card debt, you may want to consider allocating
Absolutely.
a portion, because that debt is keeping people enslaved and in poverty. You got these
Absolutely.
you got these credit cards with almost a 30% interest. That's ridiculous. That's usurious. Like that should be illegal. But you got 28 to 30% credit cost, so you're paying $300-400 per month.
Right. You're making the credit card company rich.
Right,
They get rich off of you.
right. You're not tapping into the principal at all. You're just paying the interest, right, for years, right? So that's one suggestion, that if you can allocate a portion of that to get that debt down. Because think about it, so if you have, say, $10,000 in credit card bills, and the interest that year is $3,000, say 3,500, you're paying the interest that year. You pay down that credit card bill, you just recouped or brought back to yourself $3,500. You understand my point? That would have been going out in interest, being that you paid your credit card debt down, if you have any. You just saved $3,500. You know what I mean? So that's just a suggestion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good too. And so and then that would also help you sleep better at night. So some years ago, I mean many years ago, I had taken a course. You guys heard of Dave Ramsey,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So he's the guy that believes in all cash. So he has this program called the Snowball, the debt pay down snowball. And
Mm.
so what he suggests, if you have like three different credit cards, you're gonna pick the one that has the lowest amount of debt, and then you're gonna pay off that one first. And then once you get that one paid off, that money that you was using to pay off that one, you're gonna now take that money and pay off the second one
Mm.
that has the second lowest one, and then you move on to the third. So if you do it in that order, you will have a sense of progress, because now you pay down the smallest one, which you can get that paid down in a shorter amount of time. But he calls it the snowball effect. So that's a technique that you can use to pay down your credit card debt. But you were definitely right about that, Eric. And I don't know if you going to say something, Stanley.
I was going to just say that there are some instances where people don't even see it, their income return. They just got accounts set up that it goes straight there. That's not even being touched. Um, and for most people, just this theory of keeping the 3 to 6 month um, emergency fund is all, and it sounds good, and we have to do it. And when you get a chance to do it, I don't care if you can save $50 or $100, whatever, because if you got to do it. But for some reason, it seems like these emergencies come up more than just one time, right? It
Mm-hmm.
seems like they come up periodically throughout the years. I mean, throughout the months and throughout the weeks, it periodically come up, and you eating the fund. You got to replenish the fund. You eating the fund. So for me, and I understand when you say do the front, and this is a financial advice podcast. So, but when I'm going to speak from me, from my mentality, and I always like to save and try to get to the next step. But refunds are sometimes could be used to embark on that new business that you've been trying to
Mm-hmm.
embark on for so long,
Absolutely.
right? That course you may have wanted to take but you couldn't afford. Now, I don't mean when you see these courses that's an exorbitant rate, spend every last dime. You have to find out a course that can fit your curriculum and fit your pocket size. And if you get extra money, this should be used as a time, not like Bridget said, yeah, they want to get all the name brand stuff and all that. At a certain point in time, I don't care how old you are or young you are, you got to realize that clothes, cars, whatever it is you get that's going to get old and wrinkled and is going to lose value, you don't even need to exercise that anymore these days and time. This is the day and time where you have to get tangible assets and you got to hold them and you got to make them grow. So that income can be used for trying to create that business, trying to get that course, or even trying to help maybe somebody that you know who needed help to start that own business. Maybe you can become partners with them, or maybe you can set them on a journey. So I do understand how you got to create, you got to save when it comes, but sometimes you will set that emergency fund up and it will be eaten like this. You didn't do anything with it, but the emergency came and now it's eaten up. Sometimes I think we got to use money to make more money in order to secure an emergency, because 75 to 80% of the people are just living paycheck to paycheck, and that's just the reality of life. So
yeah, that's so true. And I think that the average person, when they get money, it burns their pocket. Like they can't hold on to it. They have to like spend. And if that's you, spend wisely. Like Stanley said too, this may be the opportunity for you to invest in yourself. You may want to do some self-development. You may want to invest in learning, a new trade or something, of that nature if you're looking to start, a business. So that money could be put to good use by considering investing it, like we mentioned too, also paying off debt. I know that when I was working and when I got my refund, what I would do with it, I'm like, okay, let me accelerate and pay down my mortgage, So although you're only required to pay a certain amount each month, you can, put that
add
extra
more to the
money
principle.
towards the principal and do a principal only payment. So now a 30-year mortgage that you have, now you can cut it, depending on how many payments you send a year, extra payments, you can cut that in half, and you can save a tremendous amount on interest, because a mortgage, especially for, I don't know if it's the first 10 years or so, most of that payment that you're making is interest. That's going into the bank's pocket. Okay. And let me tell you, when the bank has your money, they're not paying you that kind of interest. Okay. If you got money in the bank, they're paying you what, 0.2?
0.0,
Right.
0.1 or something.
But now when you're borrowing the money from them, they're charging you this exuberant amount of interest. So we have to be wise what
That's
we
a
do
that's
with,
a hell of a contrast you just gave, Bridget. It really is.
No, it is. It's the
Yeah, it
truth.
really
If
is.
you look, you need to take, if you have a mortgage, take out your statement and look and see how much of it is going to principal and see how much is going to interest.
Right.
So I'm gonna just put a number out there. If you have a mortgage, say your mortgage is $1,000, I
It's a
can
good
almost,
mortgage. Where that's
especially,
at?
huh?
Where that
I know
mortgage is
that's
at?
not realistic, but I'm just putting an easy round number. Especially if you're in the beginning stages of that mortgage, I can almost bet you that a minimum of like $200, if that, is going towards paying down that principal. That the majority of it, that 800, is going towards interest, and that's going into the bank's pocket. And this is what's making them rich. So imagine if you was on that receiving end, receiving that $800 a month instead of you being the one to pay it out. If the tables was turned, you'll be in a better position. So if you're able to, accelerate, send that extra payment. If it's one payment a year, send that extra one mortgage payment a year towards principal only. If you're able to send more, send more.
Right. And it's a good point that you both made regarding investing in yourself. I think that when we hear investing, most of the time we associate it with investing in businesses, properties, and things like that, not knowing that the best investment that you can make is in yourself, right? And you mentioned purchasing courses, in whatever field or whatever it is you're pursuing, get just investing in education, books. I'm an avid reader of books, and I seek knowledge. You know what I mean? Constantly, and for me personally, I see the results of it, right? So that's why I promote it to people all the time. Like, read books, educate yourself. And this one saying I like to say to guys, right? And I'm gonna put it to y'all. And it's like, if you see a person that cannot read, right? Just a grown adult person, he can't read. Naturally, a person to look at them, you may not laugh necessarily, but you may be like, you may have an opinion about that, right? Like, you can't read, you know what I'm saying? Like, we were younger and immature, we might find it funny, right? But guess what? Like I tell my sons, I said, you have no advantage over him if you don't read at all. You get what I'm saying? He can't read, but you don't read. So what's the difference? What's the difference?
Right.
Right? You laugh at him because he can't read, right? And a lot of times, that brother may be running circles around you, but you don't read. So the knowledge sets you up in this world. You know what I mean? Wisdom, understanding. So I implore anyone, viewers listening, educate yourself, make that investment. Don't feel like it's like an expense per se. Like because sometimes an expense, it kind of hurt our soul a little bit. You're like, it's all about your perception. If you look at it like an investment, like, you know what, I'm gonna purchase this course. This is an investment, right? It changes the whole scope of the scenario versus you just feel like you just spending money or something, Yes, I just wanted to just add on with that. But invest in yourself.
Yeah, so to add on what you said, E, when you said that a lot of people get the perception, and that's the scary part, right? And if you don't, the more you know, the more you are capable of growing. So like you said, E, when you said that, people get the misperception when you say business, they start automatically, their mind automatically go to some big business that they may see, a store that's already open, or a successful place that you got to get all of these things. And they don't realize, and we had an episode on this, that the barrier to entry to business is virtually at this point small to no investment, man, because you can start out easy. You don't have to pay to write words on a piece of paper, your ideas and thoughts on a piece of paper. You don't have to pay to type that up. You don't even have to pay to upload it to Amazon as your first ebook or your first whatever it is, a planner, explainer, or PDF. So none of those cost money. But what you have created, you've created a product tangible that you can have, that you can sell for money. And that's just one way, and that's one idea. There's so many different ways. We need to stop. And I want the audience to know this, listening, people to like, subscribe, and share to this channel, but to know that, yes, you want to have a business that's growing, where you may get the facility, where you may get the people that's working for you, where you may get the manufacturing, you may can create a grander product. Start small with the education, like you said. Build a blueprint and use that money that you may be getting as the tax return as your first step into financial freedom or building a legacy.
Yeah. And Eric, I like that analogy that you made regarding the person that can't read and the person who don't read. So they're equivalent.
Right.
So for the people out there who are not reading, you're equivalent to the person who can't read.
Right.
That's huge.
That's huge.
You have no advantage over that individual. So we'll ridicule a person that can't read, right? You say, wow, you're 40 years old, you can't read. But like I mentioned, brother or sister, you don't read. So you're on the same boat.
What I suffer, why I mean, I'll cross-reference, and recross-reference again, because if I hear somebody speak or have a conversation, or I have a conversation and I feel like I'm not there, I'm lacking in something. And it's sad because I know they say people, this is an investor, this person is in real estate, this person is in whatever. And I may not be the master of one particular thing, but I like to be informed on so many different things, because if I don't understand it, I like to sit there and get an understanding. So that acquiring knowledge is a beautiful thing, and trust me to help you when you get that refund back.
Right, and also with that, even if you just got a basic knowledge of say real estate or stock investing, whatever, what that does is it allows you to ask more informed questions. So when you get to a professional person that has experience, based on, you may not have that personal experience, but you read some literature on it. So when you're speaking to this individual, you can say, I want to ask you a question. You know what I mean? And and it'll be a question of a higher, a deeper level because you have a basic knowledge of it versus you don't have no knowledge. You don't know what question you even going to ask
Right.
above just a base level. But
Yeah.
if you have some kind of knowledge, like, because me, like I read things on everything, right? So what it allows me to when I'm in the presence of people like stock investor, real estate, I'm able to ask questions and I could tell by their response that they're like, okay, that was a good question. You know what I mean? Because it's not just random. Like it was like I have a basic knowledge, but I want to get a little more in depth.
Their language. You're able to speak their language,
Right.
and that's important to speak
Right.
their language.
And dialogue. So that is one of the benefits of investing in yourself as far as education. It allows you to, it'll place you in spaces that you wouldn't normally have been in without this knowledge. Because now I've acquired knowledge in other things. I find myself having conversations with people that I wouldn't normally speak to, other than you know this information that I have. So yeah, that's just going back to what we were saying. Invest in yourself. Read. Listen to all of your books, and don't be afraid to make the purchase. Sometimes a book may be $25, $30. I got books for $70. I spare no expense on knowledge because it stimulates me. When I learn something new, it does something to me. I can't even explain it. But
Or they can find sites where they can get good deals on a bunch of books at one time. You
yeah,
know, books that's out. Yeah,
that too. But I know people, they would hesitate. You tell them here's a book for $20. They be like $20, but I'd be like, yo, listen, they got a concert coming up over here for $250. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, my point is, sometimes go the route that that's more affordable for you, but don't skimp on knowledge because it has an actual effect, on your well being.
Definitely, and it could be your gateway to your next opportunity.
Right, right.
Definitely. And so, also what I want to talk about as well too, especially in this day and age, is very relevant. So, when I was working as a nurse, I am entitled to what they call a defined pension plan. And a lot of jobs are doing away with such. So, when I reach retirement age, I'm entitled to a pension. That's a rare find at a lot of jobs these days.
Right.
it is.
So that being said, another thing that you can do with this lump sum of money that you're gonna hopefully have coming in from your tax return is start to fund your retirement. Start putting money away for retirement, because once you get to that retirement age, most people are going to be making less money than what they were making at their job. So
Right.
you're having a hard time now and you're working a job or working two jobs or even three jobs. Imagine what's going to happen when you get to retirement age. You're not going to be able to retire because you can't afford to retire, or where you get to the point where you have to retire because you can no longer work, maybe for medical reasons. What are you going to live off of if
Right.
you're not entitled to a pension?
Right.
Be relying on Social Security alone, and who knows where that's going to be, 20 or 30 years from now.
Right.
So we have to start thinking about how we're going to fund our retirement, how we're going to sustain our life once we're no longer able to work and when we stop working. So, you know, that could be a good use too, as far as putting your money, your tax refund into to start funding your retirement. Mhm.
Good point. Yeah, because a lot of us we don't even think that far. We can't see fast.
Right. We just think about the immediate. We can't think 20 or 30 years out, but
Like,
trust me, you get there before you know it, because
you know.
to me, I remember I was 20 years old and now looking like,
Right. Right.
you know, and
Right.
when I first started out working in my 20s, I wasn't thinking about, retirement at that age. But
Right.
it happened so quickly and so fast. I mean, at some point I start, investing and doing things. So I pretty much have funded my own retirement. But young people, start thinking about it, because before you know it, you're going to be our age.
right? Before you know it,
Wait. He ain't our age yet, Bridget. He's still a little. He's still younger than us. He got it. We got him by 10 years, I think. Where you at now? We got E by 10 years.
Oh,
but I remember I was talking to my father. This was about 20 some odd years ago. He was telling me the same thing that once he got about, and I notice it now, but once he got about 35 or like 30, he said, man, he woke up, he was 50. He said he don't know what happened. Well, because time just get by you, just the
yeah.
repetition, just the daily repetition, and time just get by. You look up like, wow, you're like, man. So you got to be intentional about things we're doing.
I think that's what happened to me too, Eric.
That's what happens. And I feel like even at my age, like, man, I remember, but I get reality checks too. Sometimes I still feel 25. My mind.
I say the same thing, E, but it's just it's just something in the mind, but it don't feel like,
Right.
I act like I
Some
feel
gray
like
hairs tell you something different, huh?
I get a reality check too. Like I see my children. You know what I mean? That kind of give me a reality check. Like, wow, like, yo, no matter how you may feel, because I'm in shape, I try to keep myself in shape and everything. But I get a reality check when I see them, my granddaughter. I say, wow, I'm getting up there. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so we definitely have to plan. And that was a good suggestion. I don't think a lot of people even consider that, specifically with a tax refund. They're like, I'm going to get, so just be wise and be smart about, but a lot of the times, man, just in the neighborhood, people feel like, man, we worked hard all year. You know what I'm saying? We want to treat ourselves to something. But that's the mentality. Like, you know what? I done worked hard. I done slaved. I'm going to treat myself, right? But think about it. Treat yourself to an emergency fund. Why does it always have to be some kind of product, right?
Right.
Treat yourself to a book, an investment. Treat yourself to
paying off debt, right?
paying off debt.
Yeah. We need to have some different kind of treats, right, Eric?
I've heard that plenty of times. I had a coworker. Every week she treated herself. Not just she ain't waiting for a tax refund. Every week she's like, listen, I don't work for a week. She get paid. I'm treating myself.
No, that is resonating with me, Eric. And this is years ago. I could have probably been in my maybe 20s, maybe early 30s, and I felt that I worked hard. So every week, payday, they had the stores no longer in existence. It was called AJ Wright. And I was in there every week buying things that I did not need, bringing all this stuff to my house because I felt that this was my treat. I was treating myself for working hard all week, So thank God I changed that trajectory because had I not, I wouldn't be where I am now.
So I thought they said pay yourself first.
Huh?
I thought it's taught to pay yourself first and get in the habit.
Pay yourself first, but not to go treat yourself to do that. Okay.
Right. Well, first, definitely.
So paying yourself first is, taking money out of your paycheck, putting it aside, and putting it so that you can use it for some of these, good things that we mentioned. Like if you want to start investing, things of that nature, but not to go out there and go shopping and buy yourself clothes and stuff like that. No, that's not paying yourself first. So we're not referring to that. But before I was educated regarding finances, that's what I did. I treated myself every week because I felt I worked hard and I deserved it. Right. And had I not changed what I was doing, I wouldn't be where I am now. So had I continued along that trajectory, I would be, where I guess.
And like I said, that's just a thing I think just within our culture, because from the East Coast to the West Coast, right? When you go into the neighborhoods, you talk to people, that's what you're going to hear. Listen, I'm treating myself. I don't work hard all week. So it became a cultural phenomenon. So that's something we have to break out of. Or if you're going to treat yourself to something, as we mentioned, something more productive. That's a treat as well. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Treating yourself to some knowledge, some information, some education. It don't always have to be product oriented or things that has no real value.
Short
Right,
gratification, yeah.
and it goes back to who you take advice from too, Eric. So, people may say, okay, you got to treat yourself. So you're taking advice from people, that, I mean, for lack of a better word, that, are probably broke or have that borderline mentality.
Right,
So you want
absolutely.
to take advice from them. You want to take advice from someone that, is knowledgeable when it comes to managing money and things of that nature, because they will advise you to do the opposite.
Right.
And we're not saying that you don't treat yourself every now and then, but it's not going to be every week, okay? and
Absolutely.
treating yourself to things you
Absolutely,
can't
and
afford.
I want to make sure I say this, that I understand we're at a particular time where you want to be financial, you cognizant of what you're doing with your refund. I don't want to tell us that you have to open up a business. These are just suggestions people are giving you to see what can I do better this year, this time around? What can I do better? And even if this is not the year to start that business or to go on it, you can, like he said, start with a book first, and then maybe next year is the time, or maybe that. But at least you got to get in the mindset of start doing the right thing with that with that money. So, you're talking to me too. I'm having the conversation, giving my advice, but y'all talking to me every time.
Yeah,
we
because like for me, like I like to treat myself with books. That's an actual treat for me. When I order it and it come, I feel like a kid on Christmas.
Ah,
I think I can't wait to unwrap it. It's like
yeah.
I'm it just kind of takes me back to like a kid. Like, unwrap it, it's brand new, it's shiny. I kind of like massage it for a minute. Like, you know what I'm saying? I love books. I'm excited to get into it. So that for me, that's a treat. You know what I mean? And some people may hear that and be like, "Wow, that's interesting," but that does something for me because it's new information, especially if it's something that I may have a vague understanding of, and as I'm reading it, as my understanding of it increases, like when you get that moment, like, "Oh, I got it." That stimulates me, like especially if it's like a more intricate type, complex subject matter, and then you get it. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, it does something for me. So that's a treat for me. So that's why I'm constantly ordering books like this. You know what I mean?
Same here. It's a treat for me as well, man. So as always, you guys know, every time I leave y'all, I'm like, oh, here you go. Now I gotta wait again. Because I love the conversations, man. I love
Oh,
it. I
yes.
know we are in touch during the week before we film, but this is just like, I'm not being facetious. I'm being serious when I say that y'all talking to me, because a lot of these conversations, I'm here with you guys. I'm giving information, but I'm soaking it up as well. It's my pleasure to be on this
Right.
platform and soak this information up. So I
Yeah.
want you guys to remember to like, subscribe, and share to build a
Please
legacy.
do.
Remember, it's BLDNG. And for people that's trying to look for it on YouTube, just put at BLDNG Legacies and you'll get to it. And we're on all social medias. And very important, too, that we are also wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Whatever platform you listen to your favorite podcast, we are on there too. So run those numbers up, download that for you can listen to it when you're on your way to work or you just chilling, whatever. Do that too as well. So, we, like always, we come with love and we want to thank you.
Okay, and in closing, what I would like to say, in order for you guys to go up, you got to show up. And I mean showing up to building legacies, okay?
Absolutely. Like, subscribe, and share. And comment is the most important thing. Comment.
Comment. Let us know, how we could better serve you guys.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you again.